So this month I am in the thick of it with Sand Sports Super Show, Off-Road Expo, California 300, the Rodeo X rigs meet coming up, and I thought I just want to make a real simple, nice video for you guys. Just sort of decompress and just get back to the roots, get back to the basics of the kinds of videos I used to make for you guys. So today I'm going to be going over my favorite top 5 modifications I've made to my Tacoma. So if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you will know that the truck has gone through many different versions, many different variations. So I thought now would be a perfect time to let you guys know what my 5 favorite modifications have been, what has stuck with me, what you guys could probably implement into your trucks, because I've tried them out, I've tested them, I've put them through the paces, and this is what is stuck on the truck. And usually when I do a list video, it's in no particular order, but this one, I think I dialed it in pretty damn good to where I think these are going to be in order. So let's go ahead and start off with my favorite modification I've done to the truck so far. Now again, if you follow the channel for a while, you already know what it's going to be. Boys, you know I love me my Archive shock relocation kit. Now I have countless videos on my channel with this product right here, from install to product reviews to testing videos. And dude, let me tell you, this is my favorite. Now with all of these, I want to share with you guys why I chose this modification. And for this being my top of the list favorite modification is, you've heard me say it in other videos related to this product, the rear ends of Tacomas just suck. An OEM replacement rear end just does not cut it in any capacity whatsoever. It was terrible. The geometry just isn't there with Tacomas. So I found this company, they make a shock relocation kit, and I thought, you know what, I want to try to build the most badass, best handling mid-travel Tacoma that I can. And this kit is what kicked off that whole journey. Moving that shock's top mounting point as high as it could possibly go in the top of the wheel well underneath the bed without having to cut through, without any of that, gives it such a concealed sleeper type vibe to it. You could fit a 12-inch shock, you could fit a 14-inch shock, you could even do a certain configuration bypass back there. And for such a hidden package, you just get so much more improvement in the rear end's handling and travel numbers and suspension overall that's why I put it at the top of my list. I'm absolutely in love with this kit, and I'm absolutely in love with Archive because pretty much my entire rear end is built with their products. Well, since we're talking about Archive Garage products, here's a quick little plug and a chance for you guys to potentially get your hands on some Archive Garage products. October 19th in San Diego at Snapdragon Stadium, Rodeo X Rigs is doing the next stop of their 2024 tour. I will be down there co-hosting a booth with Down for Mobbing. We're bringing out 5 pre-runner trucks. My truck will be on display at the King booth, and Archive Garage is going to be donating products and potentially gift cards to the Rodeo X Rigs raffle that they do at the event. So if you guys show up, buy some raffle tickets, put it in my box for the giveaways that we're doing together with Archive Garage, then you have the opportunity to go ahead and win some Archive Garage products. October 19th at Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. Be there at the Rodeo X Rigs event for your chance to win. Speaking of Archive, that throws us into my second favorite modification I've done to my truck, which is sort of a twofer. And that twofer modification is going to be replacement bump stops front and rear. So for bumps in the rear, I replaced the factory bumps with Archive's U-bolt flip kit option 3, which gives you their nice progressive dampening bump right there. Now, like I said, the rear end of the Tacomas just suck, and one of the biggest problems I was having is when I would compress all the way up and send my stock bump to the frame, it would just smack really hard. I'd feel it in my spine. It would send the back of my truck up. But now that we have the shock relocation kit, and now that we have their U-bolt flip kit bump stops, the compression is so damn good. I get the rear end of this truck off the ground a lot, not from jumping, maybe I'm going too hard in the whoops. Whether it's jumping, whether it's the butt coming off through the whoops, it lands so smooth, I don't even notice that it came off the ground until I see videos of it. So yeah, that progressive dampening, that bigger bump, the nice cushion feel, it was just night and day. Like, I was blown away, like, dude, I didn't know my rear end could compress and land this nice. And like I said, this is a twofer. Up in the front, we have replacement bumps as well. The boys over at Duro Bumps have me set up right with their replacement screw-in bump stops up front. And this is sort of the same story as the rear end. The factory gives you that hard puck bump stop up front, which wasn't stopping my up travel soon enough, and it wasn't doing a progressive stop. So if I compressed all the way up, my upper control arm would slam into the top of the wheel well. I'd feel it in my back, I'd feel it in my spine, and it just wasn't comfortable at all. Now that I have the Duro Bumps in the front, it's a progressive dampening. It stops the suspension before I'm smashing into the wheel well, and it's just overall a so much better feeling than the shock trying to take the brunt of it and then just slamming into a stopped wall. But yes, bump stops are my second favorite modification, even though they're just a simple screw-in replacement rubber bump. Now, while we're talking about the front end suspension, let's jump into my third favorite modification I've done so far, which is going to be the MaxTrac spindles. I want to show you guys the new spare tire straps that finally came in. We are back with a new batch of custom limited edition Desert Dime spare tire straps. from Alpine Off-Road. The designs we have this time around are the TRD Heritage stripes right here for all the Toyota boys. And if TRD stripes aren't your thing, we have my personal favorite, the Desert Digital Camo right here. This is so badass. Now what's different this time around is I did not only just order Y straps, I also got single straps for the boys that are running standing spares. So if you guys need a high quality spare tire strap for your truck, you guys know I already got you covered. And I have to say one more time, these are limited edition. Once these sell out, I am not bringing these designs back. I will be moving on to 2 new designs. So go ahead over to shopdesertdime.com and grab them while they are still here. Also on the website, we have the 2 t-shirts. Right here, we have the Desert Dime t-shirt where we got Desert Dime written with the cactuses in the desert. And on the back, we have the actual Desert Dime. And over here, we have the OG logo t-shirt right here. Ooh, bam. There we go. So I urge you guys to head over to shopdesertdime.com, check out the merchandise, check out the spare tire straps. That being said, let's get into the video. Now it's gonna be kind of hard to see them because the tire's covering them up for the most part, but these MaxTrac 4-inch lift spindles are something that I never really considered or thought that I would need, but I'm running the OEM replacement Extended Travel King with stock lowers and cambered upper control arms, and for the longest time, I just didn't realize how bad my suspension geometry was. But after smashing my stock skid plate, not this one, after smashing my stock skid plate and bumper through the whoops so many times, I'm like, okay, I need a little more lift in the front. Got the 4-inch lift spindle. Unintentionally, it ended up fixing my suspension geometry and the angle of the arms, and it allowed me to take all of the preload out of my coilover, which just made the suspension night and day. It made the front end feel night and day. I wasn't bashing my bumper skid plate through anything anymore. The angle was so much better. I had that preload taken out, so I was using just the full range of motion of the shock, and dude, again, it was just a night and day kind of thing. Something that fixed a lot more problems than I knew I had. Like I said, I got it just for the simple fact of I needed more clearance in the front end, and it just fixed so many more other problems and made the front end feel so much better. It's something that I pitch for people who have a very, very similar setup in the front. I can now confidently drive through certain terrains, over certain objects while in the desert. If a rock comes out of nowhere laying in the middle of the trail, I don't worry about my front end anymore. My biggest worry at that point is just the differential. I think that's my lowest hanging point now. But yeah, I'm forever grateful for pulling the trigger and making that decision to go ahead and get these lift spindles, because again, everything fell into place once I put them in. But since I touched on the fact that I'm not running a stock front bumper slash skid plate anymore, that leads us into my 4th favorite modification I've done to this vehicle. And boys, I didn't think I'd ever be saying this one, but yes, something that is looks based and not performance based actually made it on Dime's list for top 5 favorite modifications. And again, this one's a twofer. We're talking about the front bumper and the rear bumper. Now, this is a modification and a look that I thought would be coming way further down the road, not anytime soon, but as you guys know, there was a little bit of an accident last year at King of Hammers, which crumpled the front end, and it just sort of snowballed into us going ahead and doing a whole new revamp of the look of the truck, which included a custom-built front bumper. I worked with SoCal Suspension down in San Diego and designed this bumper with all the features that I wanted out of a pre-runner style front bumper and got it dialed in looking exactly how I would want a pre-runner style front bumper to look like. Now, how did an appearance and not performance-based modification make it on my list, you might ask? I've always been against modifications that were just for looks and not for performance, because I'm thinking like, why are you gonna spend the money on looks when the truck doesn't handle? So that's sort of where my mind used to be at. But after sort of getting pushed into doing the modifications with that accident, once the truck was done, I was getting so many more compliments, so many more people had eyes on the truck, and it allowed me to show people what it can actually do suspension-wise, because they were looking at it for the looks of it. But I was like, dude, my truck's had the same suspension, it's been handling this good for years, and nobody really paid attention to it. Nobody really cared about it as much as they do now, just because it looks better now. And I'm like, that's absolutely insane to me that a front and rear bumper got that much more attention over the performance of the actual truck itself. But I mean, hey, I don't blame them. This is a damn good looking bumper. I even have it tabbed up for some LP4s whenever I get the money for those bad boys. So it's gonna look even better once those are on. I don't know, since we're already talking about it, let me go over some of the features that I wanted added on here. I wanted a little extended off push bar up front so it wasn't just the bumper hugging the body. I think that looks so badass. And that also allowed us, because second gens have weird angles when it comes to pre-runner style bumpers, it allowed us to push it out further. Instead of the skid plate coming to the main tube here and giving it that aggressive steep angle, we were able to push it out from there down to there a little more and try to offset that aggressive angle a little bit more. I wanted it tabbed up for the light, so we got the light tabs, like I said. I talk about the bumper a lot more in the build breakdown I did of the truck when I got it back, so if you guys are interested in learning more about the bumper, just go check that out. But like I said, this was a 2-for-1. We got the rear bumper at the same time as doing the front bumper. Now, for being an off-the-shelf bumper and not a custom-built one, this gets so many compliments and so many people love it. This rear bumper is made by Dirt King, and dude, I might get more compliments on the rear bumper than the front bumper if I'm being honest. Some of the features that push me toward this versus the Missoula one is the fact that it wraps all the way around the corners here, where the Missoula one stops right here for fiberglass to come around. It also has license plate lighting right there. I know a lot of off-roaders don't really care about the license plate lighting, but I just don't need another reason for a cop to pull me over, you know? And if your fiberglass does not wrap all the way under the taillight like mine does not, then they give you these 3D printed caps right here to fill in underneath. I don't know, I think it's just a gorgeous rear bumper. The front and rear bumper both just make the truck look so much better, but I guess I did sacrifice that sleeper look I had for a while. Oh well, what are you gonna do? I have the clearance in the front and rear now that I need compared to having the stock bumpers, and I got those beat up stock ones out of here, dude. Both were just smoked from off-roading. Now, my 5th favorite modification I've done so far is yet another appearance one, which is why it's sitting 5th on the list and not higher up. But I just made a video about it, and it is these Alpharex headlights right here. Again, I've never been one to really want to spend money on an appearance thing such as headlights, especially ones as expensive as these. But if you go watch the last video I just put up about these headlights, you will understand why I love them so much. For a quick overview, it simply comes down to the fact that it changed the look drastically. This truck was getting dated, it's hit 10 years old now, and the look was just getting tired. The headlights were scratched and smoked and faded, and they were still halogens, not LEDs. So now that I have a new look, a new style to the headlights, they're LEDs, they're super bright, and with them being LEDs, off-roading at night in the desert is so much easier than with the stock halogen lights. So it's a little bit of performance and looks. I am getting that extra light for nighttime off-roading if you aren't able to afford some auxiliary lighting right off the rip and you're just doing headlights. Beautiful, beautiful option. And again, it just changes the look of the truck overall. It looks a lot more modern now compared to the old headlights we had in, so I just had to throw these on the list, even if it is in the 5th spot. Now, I want to throw in an honorable mention to the list because I think it's one of my most talked about, slept on modifications that I tell people to do, but it's gonna be this Rover Lab dome light conversion I have done inside of here. Similar to the headlights, the yellow dingy dome light that comes with the truck was just not bright enough. If you're out in the desert in the middle of the night trying to find something small on the floor or anything in a side area, that light was not bright enough. So with this dome light conversion from Rover Labs, it screws into the stock housing point. You still have the functionality of the door feature, the off and the on switch, and this uses a Baja Design rock light, so it is brighter than shit. Now, Rover Lab also makes that dome light conversion for different lights. I think like a KC Cyclone or a Diode Dynamic light. So you're not like locked in to the Baja Design light, but I think it's like one of the most slept on modifications ever. And I always tell people like, dude, this is one of my favorite modifications just because of how bright it is in the cab now. So with the honorable mention out of the way, guys, that is my top 5, I guess 6 list of favorite modifications. If you guys have any other questions, I have videos to probably every single thing I talked about already, so go ahead and check the channel. I'll probably throw them up in the cards or down in the description, so if you want to watch those videos, go check it out. If you have further questions, go ahead and comment on this video. I'll get back to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink, cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can